Now I would like to introduce Mark Torres, who has been incredibly kind enough to spend a few minutes with me, and so I can give you a little bit more about the genesis of the album. So I introduce Mark Torres. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Torres. I'm host of Travel Tips for Aslan on KPFK Los Angeles, 90.7 FM, since 1995. And I am honored to be here today because this is a beautiful moment where we get to celebrate one of the great artists that was one of the big soundtrack moments in my life growing up in the 60s, which was Edie Gourmet and Trio Los Panchos.
You're here.
Really amazing. Now, David, your mom and dad were very successful even before this. They recorded many records in the 50s, but you must tell this audience the story you told me of how your mom met Trio Los Panchos.
So it's a classic music business story, sort of. My mom had a deal with Columbia Records, 1964. And the head of A&R at the time, a gentleman named Goddard Lieberson, walked down the hall where Mom was in one of the studios and said, "Edie, you speak Spanish, don't you?" And my mom said, "What, are you crazy? Of course I speak Spanish. My whole family speaks Spanish." He goes, "Well, I just signed a group in the States called the Trio Los Panchos, and I'd like you to meet them. And let's see what happens." And my mom said, "I'd love to meet them." She walked down the hall, and in 5 minutes, the four of them were just gabbing like crazy. And literally, almost instantly after that, they recorded Amor, which went on to be a massive success in the United States and Latin American countries, and then Más Amor, which was the follow-up album, and then a Christmas album. There's much more to tell, but...
I just wanted everybody to know, like, that chance happening. You can meet somebody one day and your life changes for 3 albums. Okay, so Sabor a Mi, your mom's version with Trio Los Panchos, is literally the most iconic version. It's been recorded probably 1,000 times or more. Yeah. But it's this version that everybody knows, everybody references, and usually the arrangement that people use when they perform it.
Absolutely. I think what made this so magical for my mom is that American audience, she was already a rising star. American audiences didn't know she spoke Spanish. And Latin American audiences didn't know she spoke Spanish. And the idea was to present these boleros, these beautiful, beautiful, simple, poetic songs in a slightly different way. You still have the Trio Los Panchos playing the 3 guitars, but it's the first time that a bolero was presented front and center with a soulful, sexy white girl who spoke fluent Spanish. And it was the first time that a female was presenting these boleros with the Trio Los Panchos behind her. So American audiences were blown away by the presentation, and Latin American audiences and Spanish-speaking audiences around the country, around the world, never heard boleros presented this way. So it was groundbreaking, and she really was the first bridge builder that paved the way for the Christina Aguileras and the Jennifer Lopez's and all the crossover stars that followed her after. My mom was first, and I wanted to do this album to pay homage to the fact that she was a groundbreaker and a bridge builder.
Well, even though you say we thought that she was Mexican, I'm sorry. As a kid, her Spanish was flawless, and I didn't know as a kid. I was a kid in the 60s. We're hearing these songs. Trio Los Panchos is killing it. And we didn't know. We accepted her as our own.
Yeah.
And I think Latin America did as well.
Absolutely. And so a few months after my mom had passed, I said to my extraordinary wife and co-producer of the album, Faye Greenberg, I want to do something to honor Mom. And I don't want to go back and revisit the Great American Songbook, which everybody and their aunt and their uncles sang to death, and not as well as she did. And Faye said, go back into the Spanish songs that you grew up with and find a way to find your voice in that and reinvent, these boleros, which is what I did. which is what I did. And Faye would listen to one song that I would finish the arrangement of. She goes, great, now we don't do any more like that. I need something like this. And that's great, but we don't need to do something now with vocals. And she really paced the album so that everything on the record is unique and different, which was a challenge for both of us to make these simple songs come to life in a different way. So thank you, Faye. Very proud of it.
Thank you so much, Faye. And people who don't know, Faye and
Faye,
David
raise your hand.
are a great songwriting team here, and so they do it every day. They could probably write a song a day.
Well, we used to write a song a day. We don't write a song a day as much these days. We're older and tired, and the music business is different. But we were very fortunate to have met an amazing man, Steve Vincent, who is Senior VP of Music at the Disney Channel, who was really responsible for putting together the High School Musical phenomenon. And he brought Faye and I in. Steve, where are you? There he is, Steve Vincent. And he's now part of our family. It's no longer a working relationship. But yeah, I mean, Faye and I, of course, we try to write when we can, and now it's usually just job-based. You know, we don't write for pleasure anymore. We just write if somebody's going to pay you.
Well, Carlos Hurtado did a great job.
Oh, yeah, Carlos.
What a wonderful music video. And I have to say, I was sitting right in the front row, and when you were hitting those high notes, I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, I got those from
Pretty
my
awesome.
mom. Yeah,
But I heard around. I will have to say, I spoke to a few people, and people said, "I think David got a little bit from mom and dad."
Yeah, absolutely.
It was great to see your dad as a cameo.
Thank
there.
you. It was very special to have him at the very end. He's having some health issues, as I'm sure most of you know. So it was a very beautiful moment to have him on screen with me and share that moment with him. But I want to say that more than anything else, I've been incredibly lucky to have been surrounded by incredibly creative people that helped make this album with me. I'm grateful for the talents that my mom and dad gave me. I'm grateful for Faye being my right hand and my left hand and my right leg and my left leg. I am grateful to Janet DeCal, Ramon Stagnaro, Al Schmidt, Linda Bresenio, and this evening to Paul and Rocio. It's just been an amazing ride to get to this point. When at one point it was a dream and now it's a reality. My hope is that you all listen to the album and experience the love that I put into it, and that I couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Well, very much, yes. Big hand. You know, it's surprising. They didn't really have these categories back in those days for Grammy for Latin pop or Latin this or Latin that, but your mom really deserved a lot of, I don't think that she got the accolades at that level that she deserved, because these were like million-selling albums.
Absolutely. And that's also the reason why Faye and I decided that this would be the project to do, to just make people aware of exactly how amazing she was and what a bridge. I keep saying bridge builder, but she was a bridge builder, and she laid the first paver stone on that bridge. So I can't thank you all enough for being here in support of me in this project. And I can't thank Steve enough for being so amazing and generous, and for being such a fabulous friend.
Let's give everybody a big hand. Faye, David, Rocio, Steve, Carlos, the whole team that put this together.
Oh,
really
actually, one last thing I wanted to say, because she came in fashionably late. Nitzia, where are you? So Nitzia Chama is our lead in Sabor a Mi.
Yeah.
She is absolutely, well, you know how stunning she is, and she's even more so in person. She has the heart as big as a lion, and she's, I consider, one of my new best friends. She's just sweetest soul. Thank you, Nitzia, for being in the video. Again, thank you to Carlos. Thank you to Jose Meyer Quinn. Elvia, I don't know where you are for co-producing and keeping the ship running. You can't imagine how much we had to get done in 12 hours. I want to thank Ben and Cliff Lipson for suggesting El Cid. Where are Ben and Jack? Sorry, Ben and Jack. They're someplace. They split. Well, you got to check them out. They're an amazing music group called Jack Benny, and that's the dad, Cliff, who took the photos of the album. So a little plug there. Anyway, I think Mr. Figginger wants me to let everybody know that it is dessert time. I have earned my cocktail, so please enjoy yourselves. And I cannot thank you enough for being here in support of this project. Thank you.